Back live on the National Soccer Network, a special guest for a second time around, national champion head coach Jamie Clark of the University of Washington Huskies. And Jamie, does saying national champion get old at all still?
No, it never does. Thanks for having me on here, Ryan. Yeah, I mean, it's something we both have to enjoy, but also put in the rearview mirror at times now. Like we gotta, how quickly the schedule comes, and the season will be on us before we know it. So we got to be ready for the next one.
I saw you guys posted a video on Instagram of the players calling the season ticket holders. Did you partake in any of that as well?
Where was I? I was on the road recruiting, so
Oh,
I did not. I would have loved to, because those are all our people, like our community. Soccer, especially at the college level, is still a grassroots sport. So the better you tap into your networks, your communities, the closer you are with your alumni, your local clubs, the better you're going to do. So we thrive on that. A lot of local players, so it's easy for the local players to call the local clubs and hopefully get some movement.
speaking of local players, you continue to recruit the state of Washington very well, bringing in 7 new players this upcoming fall. Handful of them coming from Washington. How do you continue to dominate the state of Washington in recruiting, and how important is it to dominate your in-state in terms of recruiting?
Yeah, there's a lot of good players, and we never claim to get all of them. But I think we do target guys we think fit our program well, and historically, it's not always the biggest star. Sometimes the biggest name goes elsewhere, but it's the guys that we think will develop over 2, 3, 4 years and become the guys that we want. So we ended up with a good group again. I don't know if anyone will need to make an immediate impact. We return a lot of players. We got a really good group coming back. A lot of the guys who got drafted decided to stay on in college for one more year. So, but I think they're going to be the right developing group that, I think that's always the key is every time you lose the good programs, when you lose guys, there's always guys waiting and ready to kind of fill their holes. And that's what we want this group to do. We want them to be ready when called on.
Reload. I like that.
Yeah.
Reloading your squad. Speaking of the current squad, reigning national champions, how do you keep them motivated heading into this upcoming season?
Yeah, my favorite interview this year was one of our captains, Connor Lofi. He was asked that same sort of question, and he just, simply put, I would do anything to play in that game again, that national championship game. Once you've played in one and you've experienced the crowd, the fans, the emotion, you just want to do it again. And I think the understanding of what it took to get there is that experience is really helpful, but just the drive to want to do it again is huge. So that group that we have coming back, I mean, there's nothing they would want more, but let's call it what it is. It's very hard to repeat, and I think there's probably 20 teams, 30 teams every year that are in the mix. And I think if we played that NCAA tournament one more time, I don't know if we played it 10 times, I don't know if any team would have won it twice, right? It's that close, and the margins are that tight. So you got to get hot at the right time, and we'll play our cards hopefully well again.
Is there still anything more crazy in your coaching career of Harry's goal where it goes in, but it might not go in, but then you find out that you did win and obviously win the national championship? Is there still anything that beats that?
No, I mean, you actually have nightmares waking up that they called it back and it didn't go in. But that just shows you how tight the margins are. It took that moment. It took a good little bit of luck along the way to, we beat some really tough teams in some really tight games. I think we're one of the few teams that didn't have to go to penalties along the way. Most teams have to get to penalties. So it just shows you. But I think with the right mental resolve and the right group of guys, it's possible. And we return a lot of them.
Yeah, how long did it take for those players who got drafted to return back to school? Did it take a long time, or did you kind of know where they were going throughout that process?
Um, I mean, to be honest, a couple of the guys who got drafted are true. One's a rocket scientist. Well, other one was a valedictorian of his high school. These are guys who put a lot of stock in their degree. They will be pros. I really believe that, but they just felt like it was 1 year too early. So I think that's going to be after next year. I think we're going to have a lot of holes in that team because we probably have 8 to 12 guys that could leave after next year. So let's enjoy this year, and then we'll get to recruiting next year again.
Obviously, forgot to congratulate you on your new contract extension through 2032. Congratulations on that, and what went through that whole process for you.
Yeah, I mean, this place is my home. I've always wanted to put roots down, get an alumni base that I love and I've coached and that they know me, and that's what we're growing right now. Basically, have a university, have an athletic director that really supports the program. So we just have all these things aligned. I know the community now. I know all the coaches in this area. I know how good a job they do. So there's just so much alignment that I couldn't imagine, coaching anywhere else. I couldn't imagine, honestly, I couldn't imagine doing almost anything other than at UW at this point. So, I mean, that may change at some point. I have to earn my keep every year. We have to keep being good. But this place is special. My family love it. My kids are purple and gold through and through. So that's the way it is.
What if head coach Jed Fish offered you the offense coordinator position? Would you take it in a heartbeat?
Financially, I'll be hard pressed to turn that one down, but I don't think he's going to be doing that anytime too soon. My performance in the spring game was not up to par. We Nicole, the woman's coach, put a beat down on my team, so that's the way it goes.
You got a quarterback who might make you look pretty good, so I'll say that. Obviously, we talked about the squad a little bit already. A very veteran group, a lot of returners. How do you feel overall about your squad heading into the upcoming season?
I'd say we have a chance. We only lost 3 guys off the roster from last year, but they were 3 really important guys. Goalkeeper is always huge, and Jaden was unbelievable down the stretch. Richie, he got runner-up National Player of the Year as a winger who created havoc, and then we had a center forward who went to LAFC, Charlie Koskov. And the thing about Charlie and Richie, early in their careers, they were a disaster to coach because they were so hard-headed and so opinionated and stubborn. But that's also what made them absolutely special as players. Like they stepped on the field every game, every practice, thinking they would be the best, working to be the best, refusing to lose. And man, those guys are special players. So yeah, we're gonna miss those guys. We have replaced a few. We got a great transfer goalie from Utah Tech who's been drafted by the Sounders, Stockton Short, and I think he's arguably the best goalie in the country this coming year. So that's gonna certainly help fill that role. We have some young guys. Clarence Dolan's a really really good winger. Another Emmett Lehman was a transfer from who came home from Point Loma back to Washington. So another Washington guy, but you just had to take the long route to get here. So I think we have the players to do it. But that mentality that those guys brought was special. So we have to replace that mentality and belief again. And you only do that through winning games. Like we can talk about it all we want, but if we show up and we don't win games, that belief can be stripped pretty quickly. So we got to win games and earn it again.
Do your players play in the USL2 right now?
Yeah, I mean, last year's USL2 final, I think, featured 9 of our guys because we had 3 guys at Vermont and 5 guys at Ballard, and then we had one of our alums at Ballard too. So it was a lot of guys in the USL2 final last year. We do same thing again. We're still in school, or we just finished school right now. So we guys are playing locally. The guys who are going to go out to Vermont again haven't made their way out yet, but they'll be en route. And then we'll have a bunch of guys at Snohomish, a bunch of guys at Ballard, all sorts of teams. I mean, games are games. Guys need games. I think it's really important. There's really good coaching in that league, and I think having our players hear from different coaches. Sometimes the same message reaffirms what we're telling them. Sometimes new messages help them make breakthroughs. So whatever it is, I just think guys playing games is crucial to their development. So I want that to happen.
Speaking of that, moving into probably the hot topic in terms of the college soccer sphere, the new schedule change semester to semester. Just want to hear some general thoughts from you. Do you like it, dislike it, maybe some changes you would like?
Yeah, I mean, I think every system has its benefits. Every system, there's no one perfect model. I always go back. I will say that the old model, while it had its flaws, we did really well in it. I mean, let's be honest, college soccer does not get the top 20 to 50 guys, and so we take the next group of guys, and we keep turning out really good pros. So the last model is not and was not broken, but there were certainly things that could be better. And I think what this new model hopefully does is it does allow a little bit more spacing, which I think a little bit more calculated training between games could be helpful. I think from marketing this standpoint, having one game every week and hopefully marketing towards that game hopefully helps crowds and helps focus. And I think the optics have been really good. I mean, people just hear, oh, year round model. This is incredible. And people don't realize that, our guys are training year round
Yeah.
anyway, and they're playing games and they're doing stuff. That was the biggest fallacy ever, this 3-month season. But it was the easiest thing to take away from the present model. And now in an elongated schedule, an elongated season, it's hard to say that. So I hope this helps, continue to get some really great players into the college system. Hopefully it gets more support, from US Soccer, MLS, whatever it might be. And hopefully we can capitalize momentum. But what I tell our guys is I'm not in the room making decision. My job as a coach is simple. Like whatever the rules you give me, I have to make the most of those rules and, and develop the best players possible. So whatever happens, if this full year model ends up actually being finalized over the next month, we're going to make the most of it and we're going to continue to, develop our guys. But if it doesn't, and something weird happens over this in the final vote, I mean, we've proven that we can produce really, really good players. So one way or another, we're going to make the most of it, but I am excited if changes do happen.
Would you say with playing time, because now you're going to be playing like one game a day or one game a week rather than two or three? Will you say maybe playing time for certain players might hurt them because maybe a player picks up a knock one game and you have a game 2-3 days later and you have to sub someone in for them? Will playing time kind of, how will that all change your decisions in terms of playing time with one game a week rather than two or three?
Yeah, I mean, I think in a development model, um, there's a little worry that if every game is a competitive game, right now the spring model, we play all pro teams in the spring, and then with our second group of guys, we play actually 2 games every game date. And our top team plays a lot of pro games, and our second team plays a lot of like Division 2 and Division 3 teams, and it's the right level for everyone, and everyone's developing and getting 90 minutes. I worry that where the development's coming from players 14 to 28 in the roster now. Because I mean, our starting team in the College Cup, 5 of the 11 were redshirt guys. They were guys who weren't stars, who we've developed. We used the spring season to get them ready and equipped, and we worked on, trying to play out of situations. But maybe if we had to win the game, we don't care if we win those spring games, but now we have to win every game through
Yeah.
the year. So, but at the same time, I think for the top guys, that might be beneficial because they're going to get the break between games so they can maybe ramp up and play that one game a week a little bit better, a little bit sharper, with a little bit more preparation. So as I said, like there's plus and minus on both sides, and I think anyone who says otherwise it doesn't understand how complex the system is. But I'm excited, and I think players will be excited to be playing meaningful games in front of fans the entire calendar season.
Yeah, and I'm sure those College Cup games will be a lot warmer as well
Yeah.
compared to playing November in December. Obviously, you guys in Seattle are going to be a host city for the World Cup. Congratulations on that. And then even your training ground will be used for some of the nations playing. How excited are you for that?
Oh, it's great. I mean, this is going to be, I mean, again, I'm one of those old guys who can, remember back. It was my 94 was my high school senior year that summer. So like that was a very formative, like, finishing high school, going to college, like watching every one of these games. And so I just have such great memories. So I hope this can repeat some of that for the next generation. Obviously, it's going to be amazing games. Here in Seattle, we're going to get some great ones. Being a training site is going to be very cool. I'm a little nervous because we're match day -1 here. So at UW, teams are going to train here the day before they play games, and I got a funny feeling that the day before games, are going to be the tightest in terms of, people don't want anyone
Yeah.
seeing their last minute tactics, penalties,
Hmm.
free kick. So, from that standpoint, I don't know how involved I get to be, but any help I can be at any of these teams, I'm certainly gonna offer it, and hopefully there'll be some learning moments along the way because there's certainly great teams and great people.
How exciting is it to have the USA be there, and obviously Christian Roldan, a Washington Husky?
Yeah, it's gonna be fun to host the U.S. team for sure. Christian's a special kid. I mean, man, like him making that second World Cup roster. I mean, not many guys make one, but very few make two, and it just shows you his longevity. I think the Club World Cup last year, man, against PSG, against Atletico Madrid, because I think everyone thought, oh, maybe he's on a decline. That was his one World Cup, and then he was the best player in the field those games. So I think that really slingshot him right back into the lineups. And I don't know, he's just the right sort of guy. Any team I would ever pick, I'd want guys like him on that team. And so I'm excited. I hope he plays, right? But regardless, it's great that they're playing in Seattle with a UW guy on the roster. Pretty special for us all.
Last two questions here. I mean, Seattle, Washington, the last 6, 8 months or whatever it is, have just been champions left and right. The Seahawks, you guys winning. Has there been a buzz around the area just for all the different championships?
Yeah, it's funny. We went to some Seattle Sports Commission awards ceremony, and many years we'd probably be in the running to win something. But this year we knew too much had happened around us. But again, rising tide lifts all boats, right? I think when teams start winning in an area, even in a department, people just the expectation around it is success, and you know that belief is really strong. So it's been very fun. That's for darn sure. Watching the Seahawks, the Mariners. I am a Northeast sports fan growing up, but I've had no luck. Basically in this window, I've lost my son, who I thought I could convince to be a Celtics, Red Sox, Patriots fan. No chance. He's on board with Pacific Northwest now. It's too good.
Yeah, I won't lie. I'm not a big fan of the Mariners. I'm a Tigers fan, and those
There you go.
18 innings really hit me deep. Um,
Yeah.
if you had like a crystal ball to predict something, what do you think the cultural impact that the World Cup will have here on the American game of soccer?
I don't know. We've come a long way. I feel like there's certain, jumps that happen. In '94, there was a huge jump ready to be made, right? The MLS was going to start. Like, that was an easy, clear jump that was going to happen. And the energy that jumped from, the World Cup into the professional league was huge. So now it's a little bit, we're further along. And so I feel like once you get really pretty good at something, the last piece of it is like that actually using Mike McDonald's terminology for the Seahawks, he always talks about chasing edges, right? And the margins are smaller. Like we don't have to jump 20% or 25% anymore. We're talking about 5%, increases for U.S. soccer to do something special. So I don't know. I mean, I always hope it becomes more mainstream. Um, I think we're a huge sport, but there's still a little bit more mainstream maybe become. I think youth soccer still has to get some sort of alignment figured out, and maybe this finances helps, grow soccer in areas because we're going to have again, a huge amount of money from the World Cup. So maybe this helps develop soccer in communities that it isn't as big in, whether it's rural or inner city. So I think there's just, but I don't think it's quite as clear on this one. But I just know, let's get energy, let's use it, let's use all the momentum we can.
I'm also a big Mike McDonald fan as well. This is the last one. I ask every single person this question. I didn't ask you this back in December when you guys won because I didn't get to go to this concert yet. Now I went to my Bruno Mars concert. I like to ask everyone who is the a band or artist you would like to see at a live concert, dead or alive. Who are you picking and why?
So, I talk about this a lot with my wife because she's seen him twice in concert and I never did, and now I can't. But I would probably say Tom Petty. Tom Petty would be
Tom
my
Petty.
guy. I just like when I'm at a concert, I like to know almost every song and I like to know every word. And he's one of those guys. There's a lot of people I know a lot of their music, but I don't know every word, and so that's one of those bands that it's feel good. It was yeah, like that would have probably been my guy, but no luck, no opportunity anymore. So I gotta think of who the next one would be. But that's it for now.
Tom Petty. That's the first Tom Petty one answer we've had since I started
There you
asking
go.
those questions. So breaking a new record here, I guess, here at the National
There
Soccer
you go.
Network. Coach Jamie, anything you'd like to add before we go?
No, thanks, and thanks for doing the great work. Honestly, I like this is we talk about making it more mainstream, just getting the word out, and even for college soccer, allowing us to make sure people understand it's our worth in this huge ecosystem is we're the biggest net for 18 to 22-year-olds in the world. So we have great value, and so thanks for letting us share it and speak it.
All right. Well, that has been University of Washington national champion head coach Jamie Clark.